Hey, I'm Jeff from the Overwatch team, and welcome to Overwatch Central.
I guess I shouldn't really do the intro again as Jeff Kaplan has done it for us, but my name is Ryan, welcome to Overwatch Central. It's pretty amazing that we got Jeff Kaplan to do the intro. This trip so far has been amazing fun. It's just me talking today. Miska is checking out the Dallas Fuel game, and I kind of wanted to get at least these two major questions from the Blizz interview to you as quick as possible to provide some insight as well. So earlier on today we went around the Irvine offices of Blizzard. We had a tour, we got to check out a lot of the stuff that was going on, and we got to sit down with Jeff Kaplan for about half an hour with other content creators, Your Overwatch for example, and then some other people as well from Argentina, South America, Russia, all those kind of places. So we had the opportunity to talk to him a lot about the Overwatch League and all that jazz. But the two main questions I kind of wanted to go over was the stuff that was said about Hero 27, which is quite interesting in terms of the development, where this hero is up to, and kind of going from there. But also, I really wanted to highlight a question about, I guess, a bit of a misconception that the Overwatch League is somehow taking away from the current game in terms of development. There seems to be this theory that Blizzard World was pushed back a week simply because of Overwatch League coming out, and I kind of wanted to address that. But first and foremost, let's talk about Hero 27. And we've just got some details on how far along they are in terms of when this hero is going to be ready.
So the hero is super fun. Like, we're at that point where we go through a few stages when we're introducing a new hero to the game internally. At first, it starts off as a prototype, and we have these cordoned off playtests where the hero is, like, the whole point of the playtest is to see if the hero is viable or not. But we shield the rest of the game from the hero, because if we're then, playtesting a new map or something like that, and you've got this freakish, weird hero that's unbalanced, it starts to skew the feedback that we're having on the map. It's a very good sign when a hero enters the hero lineup, like we add it to the hero lineup fully, which means it's in every one of our playtests, which the new hero is at that point. The new hero is sort of ever present. We never test without that hero. So it's always available. So I think that's a really good sign. The more we make Overwatch, weirdly, the more difficult it becomes to add heroes to the game, because we keep adding additional content that each of those heroes is required to have. So it just takes us longer to put stuff in for those heroes. For example, when we initially launched the game, we didn't have sit emotes for our heroes, but now there's this expectation that every hero that comes out has to have a sit emote, or else, it's somehow broken or whatever. So it takes us a little longer. We're now in that stage where we're finalizing how the hero looks. We are doing things like making skins for that hero, which is a really good sign. If we were going to change our mind, we wouldn't be making skins or doing that sort of thing. We're working on a bunch of story elements. If you notice, when Moira came out, we had an origin story movie that we showed at BlizzCon. So there's all of that work is really happening. Probably the thing that makes me the most excited about this hero is sometimes when we're working on a new hero, we really struggle. And we've had this with a couple of heroes in the past where it's been very late before the heroes kind of clicked in our minds of exactly how it's going to work, and we're making kind of big dramatic changes until the end. This hero is super solid, and after a playtest, we always hear the comment like, yeah, that's an Overwatch hero, that's going to feel really great. So it's progressing awesome, and team's actually working overtime on the hero right now, and they're working really hard, but I think everybody's going to be really excited. I think it will be meta changing. I will go ahead and say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Titles and thumbnails sorted then.
I think when Jeff was talking about certain heroes being changed and iterated on very late into the process, I'm looking at heroes like a recent stuff. Moira feels pretty sort of balanced, I suppose. She came out really strong. She's in a good position now. and certainly Doomfist as well felt really good when he hit the stage, I suppose. So I'm looking at clunky heroes like Orisa when she first started, and only recently has started to come into the fold a little bit. But I certainly think the Hero 27, as Jeff Kaplan has said in this interview, is going to be defining in a lot of areas. A lot of people expecting Hero 27 to be a tank, for example. That'd be really good to see, just to have another option that people can run and give people incentive to play tanks again, because whilst they are in a nice balanced position, we saw all the tanks in play at the Overwatch League, for example. In your current ladder games, it's very difficult to get two tanks together, especially like the main tanks, and Reinhardt's having it to full time anyway. So this goes on to the second question, I suppose, that a lot of people wanted answering. I've seen a lot of distrust and pure hatred for the Overwatch League because people think that it's taking away from the Overwatch game, that Mercy and Junkrat were nerfed because of the Overwatch League, which feels a bit conspiracy theory to me. But I did want to ask Jeff Kaplan what he thought and whether the league itself had actually changed the way that Blizzard would approach these changes, and this is pretty much what Jeff Kaplan had to say.
The nice part, okay, so the really awesome part about Overwatch League is we get to watch like this awesome production value, best players in the world every single night, or many nights of the week right now, and many great matches. So that's been fantastic. The more pro play that we can just have on our second monitors as we're working, the better for us, because it's just constant feedback for us about what's working and not working. And also having all the pro players here in LA is amazing for us. So it's not like we have a gun to our head, and we shouldn't when it comes to balance. We want to be really careful in our approach that we don't do anything. We don't want to be knee-jerk. A lot of the feedback that I read from the community when it comes to balance, quite frankly, is knee-jerk balance feedback. They want to see the pendulum swing super hard to the left and right, and they want either heroes included or not included. And we're much more cautious in our approach.
Yeah. Were there any pro reactions to the changes on the message? Did they help in any way with your decision to go ahead with the changes that you put forward, or was that just predominantly you guys in the office?
No. The Mercy and Junkrat changes were based upon feedback that we had been feeling ourselves. I play a ton of Overwatch, and I have very strong opinions about, how those characters feel to both play and play against. There's the community at large who's very vocal. At no one time do I try to lump the community into one bucket. I think there are thousands of micro communities is what we're really talking about. There's not how the community ever feels about things. But there was a surprising amount of alignment about where we were with those two heroes in particular. And then there was a lot of feedback from the pros about how they were feeling about both of those heroes as well. And again, there was a lot of alignment. Then we go and look at things at, such as statistics and see how those heroes are performing. And everything is sort of in line at that point. How we felt, how the community or these thousands of micro communities all were feeling about things, how the pros felt, what the stats were telling us. It all seemed pretty obvious to us that some change was required in that direction. But I gotta say, and I'll get your question in a second, like the hero diversity of the past 2 nights of matches has been amazing. Like I've been super impressed. I think there's a naive community perception that perfect balance means all 26 heroes get played exactly equally all the time. And maybe this is me being a failure for saying this, but I don't believe that's reality. I don't believe, even if all 26 heroes were perfectly balanced, I don't believe in pro matches you would see all 26 heroes played equally. I think that's a little bit of a naive perception about how optimal, efficient pros approach video games.
Yeah. You always want that ebb and flow as well, that some heroes
Yeah.
are stronger through periods and then drop. Like Reinhardt's a really good example of that.
Yeah. I'm fascinated in the past week seeing thread after thread pop up of how Reinhardt needs a buff.
He's back right now.
They haven't realized that yet entirely.
Now, just to iterate on what he was saying about Reinhardt, we did really only see Reinhardt a little bit. Fraggy picking him up for Eichenwald for the Philadelphia Fusion in the second day of the Overwatch League Week 1. And I think that's frankly because Fraggy doesn't really know how to play Orisa. I guess Orisa would have been the stronger pick in that situation, but I mean, he should. He's a really good Reinhardt, but that's more of a tidbit that I wanted to add on. I don't necessarily feel that Reinhardt's coming back. I don't think he needs a buff. I don't think Orisa needs a nerf in particular. It's just the way that the meta is currently, much like Lucio isn't as popular now because of all the heroes around him. But there's so much in this interview talking about the localization stuff, but I certainly wanted to focus on these two particular questions. The first, obviously, being about Hero 27. A lot of people are very interested into how this hero is going to change up the game, but also the element of people disliking Overwatch League because they feel that it's affecting the game in a negative light, which I'm not necessarily sure on. Jeff Kaplan seems to sort of take it at face level, but hearing the opinion from all of the micro communities, as he called it, and seeing that they all aligned in this certain way is quite interesting. And when it comes to stats and feedback and iterations and all of this other stuff, when it comes to Reddit threads and ideas and all that jazz, I think nobody's going to be more clued up than Blizzard on this. They do their research, that's for sure. But let me know what you think of these things, what you think Hero 27 is going to be like, what the game really needs, but also what Jeff Kaplan said about the Overwatch League and how it coincides with balance of the game for sure. Let us know in the comments below. We'll have more Overwatch League content coming out, talking to some of the pros about what they think. But until next time, take care. We'll see you then.